Amazingly, the high temperature at St. John's International Airport reached over 20 degrees again today. That marks the 84th time in 2025 that a high at St. John's International has been at least 20 degrees, which is obviously a new record. On top of that, the last 3 days have had a high at St. John's over 20 degrees, which is a new record for October, according to Environment and Climate Change Canada meteorologist Rodney Barney. Will it last? We'll talk about it after this. This forecast is sponsored by Atlantic Edge Credit Union. Visit aecu.ca or drop by one of their 16 branches across Newfoundland and Labrador to experience banking that puts you first. Now, as of just before 3 p.m., the heaviest rain over eastern Newfoundland looks to be located over the southeastern quadrant of the Avalon Peninsula, but a lot of us are still seeing rain, and it's heavy in spots. That will linger into this evening. Working our way out towards central, looks like a little bit of a gap in the action between Gander and Grand Falls, Windsor, and looks like Badger, but around the Badger area, we are seeing some heavy rain as the TCH turns north up towards Southbrook. Meanwhile, as we look further west, we've got rain. We've also got snow showing up on the radar scans this afternoon, mostly in the highest terrain of the long-range mountains. So if you are someone that went from Deer Lake up near Grossborn National Park along Route 430 through Wiltondale, you likely saw a few flakes into the higher terrain. But that is really about it with respect to the snow. I don't think most areas across interior, central, and western Newfoundland are going to see snow overnight, but it's certainly a possibility, if you will, as the colder air we're seeing in Labrador begins to spill in. In the Big Land overnight, most areas falling to near or below the freezing mark, including in the west, the north, and even the southeast. Mary's Harbor falls to 1. So that cooler air has to go somewhere. Where is it going? Well, it's moving on to the island. Now, as of 6 p.m. this evening, it's likely still pretty warm on the Avalon. 16 degrees is the forecast temperature at that point. But look at Bonavista by then, 9 degrees. There's the cool air. And that cool air really begins to spill eastward as we go into the overnight period. So notice by midnight, it's 4 degrees in Gander, 4 in Grand Falls, Windsor, 4 in Corner Brook, Stephenville, it's 6. And at that time, temperatures on the Avalon have dropped to between about 6 and 8 degrees. And as we go into the early morning hours of Friday, it's breezy, it's cool. Millertown is at 2 degrees, 3 degrees in Grand Falls, Windsor, Cowhead at 6, Springdale at 2. It's also a little breezy, so feeling even cooler than what the air temperatures are going to be. And then throughout the day tomorrow, we don't get much recovery. 6 degrees by midday in Twillingate, 8 degrees in St. John's, 9 in Trepassey. For areas of western Newfoundland, same old thing. Highs of like 6 to 8 degrees tomorrow. That really is going to about do it for our Friday. Going to feel a lot more like October or the season than the last couple of days, which felt a lot more like summer, or dare I say, almost the tropics. Now, the wind gusts are going to be an issue overnight, especially for areas of northern Newfoundland, meaning this kind of north-facing coast here. 76 is the forecast gust for St. Anthony at 6 p.m., 59 in Twillingate, but we are going to see a core of high-ish wind speeds generally moving in on the northerly flow as we go into the overnight. So you'll see the winds in Twillingate and Bonavista pick up around midnight from the north, so you're certainly going to be feeling that during the overnight period. But as the early morning hours tomorrow come around, looks like winds in Bonavista are going to peak around 70. In St. John's, we're still gusting close to 50 at that point. But thereafter, that core of high wind speed, you can see it there, begins to pull away. And the weather will slowly improve for Friday, and a more marked improvement coming as we get into the weekend as this area of low pressure pulls away. So here's our low. That pulls the front away overnight. Behind it, we've got more rain showers, more snow, potentially in the high terrain around midnight south of the TCH and north of the TCH as you get toward the west coast, and then into some of the higher terrain just north and south of Corner Brook. By tomorrow morning, however, a little bit of a different story. Weather not too bad for areas of western Newfoundland, but by 6 a.m. there's snow pushing into Labrador west. As we go into the mid-morning hours, that snow works toward Churchill Falls. Looks like in the Goose Bay area, it's a mix of rain and wet snow. I suspect as you go west on the Trans-Labrador Highway, you'll find it, but right down in the valley, likely just going to be some rain. And as we go throughout the day tomorrow, that sinks down to the south, more showers across the island tomorrow, and more showers pushing into parts of Labrador, but that likely is an initiation of some warmer temperatures coming in, at least for some areas, as we go into Friday and the weekend. Snowfall, we got to talk about it. Not looking at a whole lot, but some areas of Labrador, again, mainly between Goose Bay and Churchill Falls and Wabush and Lab City. We'll see a little bit of snow. The computer laying down a trace to about 1 or 2 centimeters from just east of Churchill Falls back to between Churchill Falls and Wabush, but mostly in what I would assume are fairly remote areas of Labrador. It's called the Big Land for a reason, but the higher terrain, certainly going to see that snowfall overnight. Meanwhile, on the island overnight into tomorrow, like I've been saying for the last couple of days, mainly the high terrain. We'll be seeing a little bit of snow, a couple centimeters in the highest hilltops, but that really is going to about do it. So for tomorrow across the island, as we talked about, not looking overly warm, not looking overly sunny for most areas either, but we will see some sunny breaks here and there. Highs of like 9-10 degrees for central and western Newfoundland. As we get to the Avalon, highs of 8 to 10 degrees, and same thing for the northeast coast and the Burin Peninsula. Working our way into Labrador for tomorrow, 8 degrees in Churchill Falls, 11 in Wabush, 8 degrees in Nain. So even if it does snow, it's not going to stick around. 9 degrees Cartwright, Mary's Harbor, and Fort Teau, Blanc-Sablon area, also getting to around 8 or 9 degrees for a high temperature tomorrow afternoon. Taking a look at the weekend forecast, we're back to 15 degrees for Saturday for eastern Newfoundland, the Avalon Peninsula, much of the south coast, much of central, western areas as well. Even the northern peninsula getting close to 10 degrees on Saturday with a few showers. And then we look to Sunday, looking a little bit cooler but dry. 8 degrees on the northern peninsula, 9 degrees for areas of western Newfoundland on Sunday. A little bit cooler as well for the Avalon with highs around 9 or 10 on Sunday. Into Labrador. Temperatures over the weekend going to be on the cooler side compared to the island, but still likely above the seasonal normals. Looking at some rain showers in the southern coast area on Saturday. Sunshine returns for Sunday. And in western Labrador, looking at some showers on Saturday and a sunny Sunday, at least as of now. Then we look ahead to Monday. I'll step out of the frame and you can see Monday not looking too bad. Lots of sunshine across the province. And that leads us into what? Tuesday. Tuesday is Election Day. And right now the forecast for Election Day across most of Newfoundland and Labrador looks pretty good. Highs in the teens, sunny skies, no travel troubles across the island or into Labrador with high temperatures into the teens for the Big Land. So if you can vote, always a good thing to exercise your right to vote and vote for whatever party you think reflects your vision for the future of this province, which I know is a hot topic right now. Get the ShareWeather app in the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store. If you have trouble finding it, SHEER Weather. And the direct links are located on the website along with a treasure trove of weather info that's almost always being updated. Have a very good Thursday evening. My next update will be tomorrow morning, and I'll see you then.